Hello, I'm William Beckett, and I have some brand new music available. Walk the Talk EP is available, and I have a brand new EP as well that's available now.
Early in the morning, feet stuck underground. Gotta fix my cup of caffeine, then I'm turning things around.
I think that the first time that I performed for someone was when I fell in love with it. And that was actually, I was 8 years old, and I was at an after-school club, you know, while my parents were still working, and they would pick me up after work, but I would spend like a couple hours there every day after school. I was 8 years old, and I set up like these big play blocks that were there to play with. I set it up like a stage and had the whole building sit down, and I was organizing my own show, and I sang a cappella that song by Pearl Jam, Daughter, but don't call me daughter, okay? I sang that in front of everybody, and they loved it, and I just getting the rush that I got just performing then. And then in later years, when I wrote my first song and played it for my sister for the first time, it was like the first time I ever really played a song that I wrote in front of anyone, and she loved it. And she was usually really brutal and honest with me. She would just tell me like, if this stinks or that's pretty good, keep doing that, but never do that again. And from there, the connection that I feel with people when I perform is really why I do it. By the time that Andy and Michael left the band, that was right after we toured with Kiss, which was a crazy experience and actually a pretty good experience to go out on. But once that happened, we had been doing a bit of writing on that tour, Mike and I feel like Mike and I taking over a lot of, even though that's pretty much how it always was, but we hyper-focused the writing on that tour, and I feel like that kind of caused a separation with the other guys. Then after that, we kept on working on what the fourth album was going to be, and we did some really good stuff, but our vision wasn't really received well by label and other people involved, so we had to kind of start over at that point. And I think that took a lot out of us emotionally and physically and creatively. I think that we kind of felt beaten down a little bit. And then for me, I felt like I really had to reset and restart and just reevaluate, rediscover what I want to do with music. And for me, it took starting over and doing it on my own and trusting my own instincts and not compromising what I do naturally. At the point when I went solo, the band was sitting on a bunch of songs, ready to record the fourth album, basically, if those holding the check were into it, But I think that no one really knew what the vision was supposed to be but us. And at that point, we didn't really know what we wanted, so that's when that's when I felt it best to start over on my own. I had the conversation with Mike at Macy's in Chicago. We just played like an acoustic show there, and I sat him down in like one of the boardrooms. It's like the old Marshall Fields building, so it's like gorgeous. For furniture and art that we probably will never see again, but just like a really surreal environment. And sat him down and just was honest with him about it. And a lot of it did have to do with the fact that I couldn't really imagine getting a new drummer and playing with someone besides Butcher, also known as Andy. I really couldn't imagine that because for me, that was such a great bond that we had, and I felt like it would be essentially like starting a new band. And if I was going to start a new band, I wanted to do it on my own terms and fresh. I'd been working with Mike for years, and we accomplished a lot of really great stuff together, but it felt like with everything happening, it was natural for me to go on my own at that point. So that's why. I mean, it didn't feel right, and I feel like when it doesn't feel right, and you know what, it wasn't, I wasn't having a lot of fun at the end because I felt like writing was like a homework assignment, like no one was liking what we were doing. I'm not even sure that we even knew if what was good or bad at that point because of all the second guessing, and I just needed a brand new start with a whole new team, fresh perspective, and just follow my instincts like I did in the beginning, and that always did really well for me. I always felt best, and I've never been happier because of that. That fateful day at Macy's in the boardroom, Mike and I spoke about some of the material that we had written up to that point for the 4th Academy record, and we both were so passionate about it. And that was one of the conversations that we had, was what was going to happen there. So I feel like those songs will end up seeing the light of day, and you know, on a lot of those songs, there were sessions where I was writing on my own. There were sessions where I was writing with a producer. There were sessions where Mike and I were in the room with a producer as well. And some of those songs, I feel like the world does need to hear, and they will be released at some point in time. But for the first EP, I started fresh. It was all new stuff that I worked on, and it was. I felt like it had to be that way. For 3 of the songs on Walk the Talk, I worked with a producer and a dear friend, Bobby Huff, who lives in Nashville, which is one of my favorite places on the planet to write and create. I love Nashville, and we really shared a vision on what it was going to be and what the production style is, and from a writing standpoint to a performing standpoint, we took care of all the recording between the 2 of us on that song, or on those 3 songs. And then a song on the EP called "Oh Love," I actually worked on it with Mike Green, who's a producer out of Los Angeles, and Simon Wilcox, who's a really fantastic lyricist that I love to sit down as a lyricist myself. That's like in my, it's one of my strengths and one of my passions is writing words, and to work with another lyricist was so fun because it's usually just me working on lyrics, but to have another brain that thinks like I do, work on a song, it was really able to be a tight story and reflect what I was feeling about it, and that was a lot of fun to work with them. And musicians, I mean, we just, Mike and I did it.
You'll be this constant compromising me.